Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Turkey Week. And welcome back to the stream. It is Monday, November 20th, and we are live from Miami, Florida, ready for a great stream in which I'm sure there are going to be a lot of hot takes. So I want all of your guys' opinions over in the chat today. We've got a lot to unpack and not a lot of time to do it. We are about to jump right in, but first and foremost, want to say I am so grateful for each and every one of you. You guys know this is Thanksgiving week. We have a lot of international people who watch the stream, so if you didn't know, I guess, America celebrates this crazy day called Thanksgiving on Thursday, where we embrace gratitude, we give thanks for all of the things in our lives, and we celebrate our gratitude throughout our country's history. It is one of our favorite holidays every single year, and I feel particularly grateful this year for all of the insane growth that we have had on the stream and for each and every one of you. It totally blows my mind how much we've grown this year and how many different subjects we've been able to cover, how many amazing guests have joined us, and we're going to be doing an entire Thanksgiving related stream tomorrow, Tuesday, before taking the rest of the week off, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You guys want to spend time with your families, you want to play football in the yard, you want to put your stretchy pants on and eat as much food as you can on Thursday for our feast. So we are not streaming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just today and tomorrow. Same thing is true for our People of the Internet live call-in show, which I know a lot of you guys have really been enjoying watching over the last couple of weeks. My new co-host show with Dave Rubin, where we take your guys' calls live on the air. Blows my mind that we are already at Thanksgiving week. I have no idea how that happened, and this week went so unbelievably quickly. Not this week, this year went so unbelievably quickly, but we have a lot of fun stuff to do between now and the end of the year, and I'm so freaking excited for all of the surprises to come in 2024. So I'm so grateful for all of you, and thank you all so much for being here. Do me a huge favor as we start the stream today and hit the like button so that more people can be a part of this awesome community. That might look like a little thumbs up or a little heart, depending on where you're watching. And most importantly, smash that follow or subscribe button wherever you guys are watching. We are live on YouTube, on Rumble, on Getter, on Facebook, and on Locals. Rumble, I'm sorry if we're a couple minutes behind for you. You might be lagging behind a little bit because there was actually a big cyber attack on Rumble's services today. And after we started the stream, all of the services were restored. So I think we should be good. I think you guys are hearing me correctly. Rumble chat, let me know. But just in case anything goes haywire, feel free to jump over to any of our other platforms that we might be streaming on this afternoon. Today we are unpacking a really, really insane story, and it broke while we were not streaming last Friday. I traveled to Steubenville, Ohio, to be a guest on the legendary Catholic podcast, Pints with Aquinas, hosted by the incredible Matt Fradd, someone that I'm very lucky to call a friend, and who is just an all-around great human being. And it was my first trip to Steubenville, Ohio. What a freaking adorable town, just as a total side note. Literal Hallmark community, the cutest little downtown I've ever seen. The local community there is really trying to revitalize a lot of the small businesses that have gone out of business over the years. There's a huge focus on faith and family and small community there. Matt took me for coffee, and it was the cutest little coffee shop before we recorded our episode. And then after we recorded our episode of Pints with Aquinas, which was like 3 hours long, by the way, coming out in the next couple of months, so you guys can get excited for that, we went and got Mexican bowls at this cute little Mexican restaurant. And in classic small town Ohio fashion, the guy serving our bowls behind the counter had a disgustingly dirty, tattered red baseball cap on that said, "Make burritos great again." And there were only 2 pictures on the wall in this Mexican restaurant. One was a painting of Donald Trump holding a fat wad of cash, and the other was a massive painting of the Last Supper on the wall. And I just love this little community. So I hope I'll be able to return to Steubenville, Ohio sometime very, very soon. If any of you guys have ever been, what a breath of fresh air in terms of a faith-based small town community that's seeking truth every single day. All of that to be said, we didn't stream on Friday because I spent 3 hours in Matt Fradd's studio recording an episode of Pints with Aquinas that will be coming out in the next couple of months for you guys. He is spending the spring semester somewhere else, so he's banking a bunch of episodes outside of his studio. But while I was filming this, there was this story blowing up on social media, and everybody was texting me about it in the middle of filming this episode, about Gen Zers overwhelmingly praising Osama Bin Laden, apparently, on TikTok. And there was this huge trend that gained international notoriety late last week, typically on Friday, although I think the story actually broke on Thursday, of dozens of Gen Zers making videos literally praising Osama Bin Laden as a good guy instead of as a terrorist, and saying that his actions on September 11th, 2001 were completely justified because they had been oppressed as a population of people for so long in the Middle East by this horrible, oppressive United States of America. And it really got me thinking about a conversation I had had with my father over the last couple of weeks with the ongoing conflict in Israel and in Gaza. My dad had said, well, maybe America would be able to come together again if there was like a common enemy situation like September 11th. Like if there was a huge terrorist attack like 9/11 2001, maybe Americans could come together again and realize that there is a common enemy, that we're all still Americans, we're all still under attack, even though we're all different. After I watched this string of videos, it really got me thinking, I don't know that that's possible. I actually have come to the conclusion over the last several days doing some research on this, that at least for the younger half of our country, probably a good quarter to a third of them would be chanting death to America right alongside those attacking our country. That's just my personal take on the situation. You guys might agree or disagree depending on what we talk about here in the next couple of minutes. So feel free to use our live chat feature to agree or disagree with anything that I'm saying. But before we jump in and watch all of these videos that I think are very, very shocking, if you're not actually understanding how far the indoctrination truly has gone for our generation in the last several decades, I want to give a huge shout out to our amazing friends over at Nori for sponsoring today's episode. I'm super excited to be working with Nori this fall, delivering the highest quality and most accessible microbiome solutions on the market. You guys know I've been on this huge journey to like detox my life over the last year and have thrown away thousands of dollars of skincare and shampoo and lotion and makeup and cleaning products and been slowly replacing them with healthy alternatives. But a huge part of detoxing your life is not just what's happening around you, but actually what's happening inside of you. If we go back to my pre-med days studying biomedical sciences, detoxing your microbiome as the open door for the rest of the health in your body is so important. And taking Nori products means that I'm taking vitamins and supplements to help boost my microbiome and my immune system with no additives, with ingredients backed by science, and all proudly made right here in the USA. I, in particular, am obsessed with their signature Stay Well product, which both helps microbiome health as well as boosting your immune system. It works a lot like a little packet of emergency if you just pour that in a little water bottle and shake it all up, but it's way cleaner, way better ingredients, and actually, I think, way tastier than those emergency packets. If you guys get sick a lot or you travel a lot, I'm sure tons of you are planning on getting on an airplane this week to see your family for Thanksgiving. Stay Well from Nori will absolutely help you stay healthy while you are on the go. You can grab your first product from Nori and get a discount using the code Isabel20, Isabel 20, using the link that I'm dropping right now in our live chat. And you're going to feel so good about supporting a company that shares your values. These guys are the best people around, and I could not be more excited to be working with them. Okay, all of that to be said, really crazy times. My fiance's mom is calling me. We're going to have to call her back because we are live right now. Really crazy times that we are dealing with when it comes to these viral TikTok videos. And I saw a really insane overcorrection almost, especially on Twitter, saying this is evidence for why TikTok A needs to be banned as a platform and why B, Gen Z is the worst generation to ever live. You guys know exactly how I feel about extremely hyperbolic statements like that. We're going to talk more about that on the other side. But first, I just want you to see what was being said by these several dozen teenagers in defense of Osama bin Laden as a terrorist, saying he might actually be a good guy.
This morning I read Letter to America, which is Osama bin Laden's letter to America explaining why he attacked Americans. And I am ashamed to say that I not only have never read this letter, but I didn't even know this letter existed. It's wild, and everyone should read it. If you haven't read it yet, read it. However, be forewarned that this has left me very disillusioned, and I feel the same exact way I felt when I was deconstructing Christianity.
Okay. So this girl's a deconstructionist. If you don't know much about deconstructionism and Christianity right now, It's a wild movement. It's incredibly delulu, in my opinion. But apparently she's trying to deconstruct her entire understanding of Western civilization based on reading this letter from an absolute evil psychopath.
Feel a little bit just confused, like I have entered into another timeline. What is this? And yeah, so go read it.
So I just read A Letter to America, and I will never look at life the same. I will never look at this country the same. Please read it. And if you have read it, let me know if you are also going through an existential crisis.
Existential crisis? Because you read the motivation for somebody who was directly responsible for the death of several thousand innocent Americans on a single day, the largest terror attack on American soil in our nation's history. Because you read the motivation from the guy responsible for that, you now are having an existential crisis? Okay.
This very moment, because in the last 20 minutes, my entire viewpoint on the entire life I have believed and I have lived has changed. Please read that entire letter.
I need everyone to stop what they're doing right now and go read. It's literally 2 pages. Go read A Letter to America. And please come back here and just let me know what you think, because I feel like I'm going through like an existential crisis right now.
Existential crisis. Another existential crisis. Is it really that shocking? Like, maybe I'm just thinking a little bit too logically here. So call me logical or crazy, I suppose. But I guess I just don't understand. You probably could have easily come to the conclusion already before officially reading this letter that the guy who did this probably thought he was a good guy. Is that so insane to me? I cannot wrap my head around the fact that it's novel, newfound information that the guy responsible for 9/11 probably thought he was on the right side of history. It doesn't mean that he is, but I'm not shocked to hear that he thought that, and yet it's throwing all of my peers, not all of them, that's hyperbolic, I shouldn't say that. It's throwing a shocking number of my peers into an existential crisis to have this information revealed to them.
Now, and a lot of people are, so I just need someone else to be feeling this too.
I need you to stop what you're doing and go read A Letter to America.
These videos are all exactly the same, as a complete side note. I need you to stop what you're doing right now and go read this letter. Go have an existential crisis with me, because I can't do this alone. Interesting.
It is literally the craziest thing I've read in a while. And while I can't say that I'm that surprised, I am pretty shocked. So go read it and tell me what you think, because I really also need to talk to other people about this. And actually, before you even read the letter, I did want to mention, in reading the letter, I could only think of this tweet that
Let's read the tweet. Under settler colonialism, any kind of resistance is branded as terrorism because the only acceptable violence is violence by the occupier. Okay, so we're gonna now, as idiot people on the internet, as stupid minority voices of my generation, say that Gen Z thinks that 9/11 was justified violence and was not a terrorist attack. The most infamous terrorist attack in world history that took the lives of 3,000 innocent people. Flying airplanes into skyscrapers is not terrorism because it's justified resistance against a settler colonialist regime. Am I understanding that correctly? Because if so, that is the dumbest position anyone on earth could possibly take. Like, I'm so sorry. I usually have a lot of sympathy for people who are just this stupid because they've probably been taught really ridiculous things their entire life. And I'm sure that's true of a lot of these Gen Zers making a big stink about this on the internet. Chances are they've probably never even learned about 9/11 at school, or when they have, it's never been explained to them. But I don't care if you know pretty much nothing about September 11th, other than the posts that you see on Instagram every year commemorating it. This is the most garbage take I could have ever fathomed in my mind. God, people are stupid.
The other day. Under settler colonialism, any kind of resistance is branded as terrorist because the only acceptable violence is violence by the occupier.
So this is fucking insane. I just read Osama Bin Laden's letter to America.
Let's just play a game real quick, and not to be that person, but can we just assume what this girl is going to say? I shouldn't say girl. I shouldn't assume girl. Can we assume what this person of ambiguous gender identity is going to say about terrorism and settler colonialism and justified violence? I think we can probably assume where this one is going. Call me crazy.
Which I will be going through right here, but it's actually so mind-fucking to me that terrorism has been sold as this idea to the American people, and honestly just so many Western inhabitants within certain nations, that this group of people, this random group of people, just suddenly wakes up one day and just fucking hates you, just wants you dead, wants you gone, and this is all because they believe that they're better than us. Like, that is the root of terrorism. It doesn't make sense. They just hate your fucking nation. But reading this letter, it becomes apparent to me that the actions of 9/11 and those acts committed against the USA and its people were all just the buildup of our government failing other nations.
So it was justified violence, is what this person believes. That terrorism doesn't actually exist. That hatred, actual hatred, doesn't actually exist. That it's just built up frustration over time. Okay.
Deceive you. My voice just wants to leave you.
Okay, so this girl actually, girl, boy, I don't know. I can't assume in any of these videos. Maybe I'm the bigot. I don't know. Don't have any justified violence against me if I happen to accidentally misgender one of these people from TikTok, from the internet. This person actually goes so far as to say that Osama Bin Laden was right to orchestrate the attack on September 11th that took the lives of 3,000 innocent people. That he was correct in his assessment that that was the only appropriate action to take against the United States of America. That's how far we're going with this now.
In majority.
Oh, we're back. Let's see what this person, I'm being very careful now, has to say further.
These situations, and this letter was insanely eye-opening. I really urge everybody to Google and read it.
As a total side note, wouldn't this hurt like really bad? Call me a bit of an old-fashioned person. I mean, I have a tattoo, I have a cartilage piercing up here, but this would touch your bones all day long. That would hurt so bad as a piercing. Am I the only one that's like totally obsessed with thinking about how terrible that would be?
Because I thought that I had quite a lot of media literacy, but
I don't think you do have a lot of media literacy. It didn't take rocket science for me to figure that out.
But this takes it to a whole nother fucking level where I was just like, holy shit, like propaganda is genuinely so deeply embedded into our fucking DNA.
Wow, the irony of that statement. Propaganda is so deeply embedded into our DNA when this person, I'm being very careful now, is actually just spewing propaganda talking points from these Queers for Palestine, Free Gaza articles, and now the resurrection of Osama bin Laden's justified terrorism. That couldn't be propaganda. There's no way that could be propaganda. I'm always right, and everyone else is always wrong.
A letter to America. You're probably waking up. You probably have a lot of questions. Welcome to the club.
You're probably waking up. What does waking up mean? That America should just burn in hell forever? That all 330 million people living in this country should die for justified violence purposes? That's kind of what it sounds like.
But we don't have a lot of time to sit and talk about everything because there's still so many puzzle pieces that we just do not know about.
Go read a letter to America. Like, seriously, go read it. Type a letter to America in Google or whatever you use, then come right back. Because this makes a lot more sense. It explains so much. And I guarantee you it's going to blow your mind.
You know whose minds were blown? Innocent people at the hands of evil terrorists because their bodies were exploded when a plane flew into 2 skyscrapers and the Pentagon. and anywhere else if those brave individuals weren't willing to crash that plane. But sure, it's mind-blowing to realize everyone you've ever known should be violently murdered at the hands of terrorists because it's justified violence.
Talk about it. So go read it, come back. Whew, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, this person is a veteran. This person served in the military and is now going to say this guy was right. Knowing he was right. Knowing Osama Bin Laden was right in murdering 3,000 innocent people. A veteran of the United States Armed Services.
Life does not. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey. Are you even paying attention to me right now?
I read Osama Bin Laden's letter to America.
The way this letter is going viral right now is giving me the greatest sense of relief. If you're Muslim and you've lived in the US since 9/11, you know more truth than the typical citizen.
What is that supposed to mean? I know we have a lot of Muslims who watch the stream. Anybody want to weigh in on that, chat? What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Now it's all coming to light because of Palestine.
Hey. Are you even paying attention to me right now?
Yikes. So this compilation goes insanely viral on Twitter in particular. By the way, total side note, we're not going to read the full letter on the stream today. We don't have enough time to unpack every single line of it. Feel free to go read it for yourself because you guys are smart enough people that I don't think it's going to automatically make you associate yourself with violent terrorists, with perhaps the most notorious terrorists in world history. Please feel free to read it. Alex said I read it and it was nothing but BS. Like literally, there's no hidden meaning or hidden information there. But for the love of all that is good, if you have your entire worldview on objective morality questioned because you read the writings of an insane, murderous, homicidal psychopath, genocidal psychopath, one could argue, then maybe your values weren't really that important to you to begin with. So please feel free to go read it. But anyway, this video compilation is put together based on all of these videos praising Osama bin Laden and praising his letter to America regarding why 9/11 was committed on TikTok. And in particular, the video blows up on Twitter and everybody starts freaking out. And should that video make you weirdly questioning the nature of what we are learning in culture about our own country, our own values, our own culture, yes, it should be terrifying you. However, because we appreciate nuance around here, does that video compilation of like those 10 people automatically mean that all of Generation Z is praising the most notorious violent terrorist of all time? No. It doesn't. And just because those videos happened to go viral on TikTok, where virality is the easiest to achieve than on any other platform, does that mean that TikTok is pushing that content to try to influence other Gen Zers to support Osama bin Laden? No, it does not. And we're going to be unpacking that from the actual facts here on the stream because I got really, really frustrated almost overnight reading a lot of the comments that I was seeing on Twitter about this video, that it was proof that Gen Z is the stupidest generation to ever exist. That's objectively just not true. Are there a lot of misguided Gen Zers out there? Are there a lot of indoctrinated and brainwashed Gen Zers out there? Yes, but you could say that about any other generation in American history, and it's certainly easy to focus on 10 absolute crazy people rather than the 70 million people in our generation, especially the 70% or so of young teenage boys who are overwhelmingly conservative and embracing traditional values. So this does not represent the majority of us, nor does it suggest that we're the stupidest generation to ever exist. And yes, that was the word used by very well-educated, very, very intelligent people on Twitter, that Gen Z is the stupidest generation in world history, and particularly American history. And it also doesn't mean that TikTok is a bad platform because these bad videos happened to be posted on it. The Washington Post almost instantaneously ran a story on this a couple of days ago after these videos started going pretty viral. They said how Osama bin Laden's, quote, letter to America reached millions of people online. Videos citing the document have been viewed far less than most TikTok posts, many others. Then a journalist made a compilation, the one that we just watched, and posted it to X, causing attention to the manifesto to explode. So here's what actually happened. There wasn't this grassroots movement to say, everybody go pay attention to Osama bin Laden. He's so great. A journalist was who actually amplified the fact that these videos even existed, and that's what caused moral outrage over the subject. They said on Monday, a TikTok user with 300 or so followers, using the screen name _Monix2, posted a video where she read parts of Osama bin Laden's letter to America, in which the late terrorist leader said his killings of nearly 3,000 Americans on September 11th had been justified by the United States' support of Israel's quote-unquote occupation of the Palestinian territories. By Wednesday night, the letter had become a point of discussion among many left-wing creators on the video app, with some saying its critiques of American foreign policy had opened their eyes to a history they'd never learned. But the letter never ranked among TikTok's top trends. Videos with the hashtag letter to America had been seen about 2 million times, a relatively low count. That's actually an exceptionally low count. If something's only been seen 2 million times, it's not even remotely considered a trend on TikTok, on a platform that has over 1 billion users. For something to actually be trending, we're talking about hundreds of millions of views, if not even billions of views on the platform. In fact, there are over 150 million people using the platform from the United States alone. So only 2 million views from across the entire globe, hardly considered a trending topic on the platform. Then that evening, the journalist Yashar Ali shared a compilation he'd made of the TikTok videos in a post on X. I refuse to call it X. We will always call it Twitter. The post had been viewed more than 38 million times on Twitter. So we blew up this trend that wasn't really trending, and then we're using it to blame TikTok for being this evil platform, and we're using it to blame Gen Z for being a stupid generation. It wasn't even viral until someone else's compilation ended up getting posted on Twitter. By Thursday afternoon, TikTok announced that it had banned the hashtag. So no, this platform was not using the algorithm to push these types of videos to my peers to try to make them dumber. They had flat out banned that hashtag from even being used on the platform, and dozens of other similar variations. TikTok videos tagged hashtag letter to America had then gained more than 15 million views because of people on other platforms drawing attention to it. The letter's spread sparked a deluge of commentary, with some worrying that TikTok users were being radicalized by a terrorist manifesto. No, they were not. It wasn't even viral. It wasn't even remotely viral until it had been posted by somebody else critiquing it on Twitter. And TikTok's critics argued that it was evidence that the app, owned by ByteDance, had been secretly boosting propaganda to a captive audience of American youth. But the letter's spread also reflected the bedeviling realities of modern social media, where young people, many of whom were born after 9/11, share and receive information on fast-paced smartphone apps designed to make videos go viral, regardless of their content. It also showed how efforts to suppress such information can backfire. Many of the videos on TikTok were posted after The Guardian, which had hosted a copy of Bin Laden's letter, removed it. Some TikTokers said that the removal was proof of the letter's wisdom and importance, leading them to further amplify it as a result. Don't turn the long public ravings of a terrorist into forbidden knowledge, something people feel excited to go rediscover, said a research manager at Stanford, and somebody who has advised Congress on online disinformation in the past. Let people read the murderer's demands. This is the man some TikTok fools choose to glorify. Always more speech, right? More speech is always the answer there. Add more context. The spokesperson for TikTok, Alex Harek, said on Thursday that the company was both proactively and aggressively removing videos promoting the letter for violating the company's rules on supporting any form of terrorism. It'd be great if they could remove videos that openly support Hamas, which I see literally thousands of on TikTok, and said that it was investigating how the videos even got onto the platform. So no, TikTok was not promoting the idea of everybody supporting Osama bin Laden or supporting the contents of his letter to America. In fact, just days after this compilation went mega viral on Twitter with like 40 million views, everybody was reporting that TikTok had removed the hashtag for letter to America after all of these viral videos were circulating. And again, watching 10 unbelievably idiotic, completely brainwashed, moronic young people say a terrorist is a good guy is not an indictment on the intelligence of an entire generation as a whole. Imagine if we used any other subject as a litmus test to be an indictment on an entire generation as a whole and their intelligence because of videos on TikTok. Again, need I remind you, Gen Z boys who are 17, 18 years old in high school are overwhelmingly identifying as conservative. Gen Zers are overwhelmingly deleting our dating apps. We're overwhelmingly throwing away our birth control. We're overwhelmingly wanting to get married. Over 80% of us wanting to get married when we finish growing up and when we come into adulthood. We are voting more conservatively on issues and politicians alike over time. If you look at the exit polling from 2020, from 2022, and going into 2024, the new polling is suggesting we're only trending more in that direction. So I'm really sick and tired, frankly, of watching some of the loudest voices use stupid, misinformed, indoctrinated, brainwashed idiots to try to spread this false narrative about how dumb my generation actually is. We're not. And we're not evil, and we're not demonic, and we're not stupid. We might be vehemently miseducated. We might be overwhelmingly indoctrinated. But the more you peddle this false narrative that Gen Z is idiotic, that Gen Z is demonic, that Gen Z is stupid, that Gen Z is blah, 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 the more you are only going to alienate them from embracing objective truth at all later on in their life. We've seen this in politics, we've seen this in the pro-life movement, and now I fear we are seeing it with the anti-terrorism, objective truth reality that the Western world has been living with for so long. The moment you say, well, supporting terrorism, you are automatically doing that because you happened to watch a video or because you happen to use a platform where that video was posted. How dumb can you be? You honestly think that's going to encourage and illuminate and inspire my generation to stand even more strongly against terrorism? If this isn't a fantastic example of what happens when we put down and we silence and we suppress young people and our natural curiosity, and of course we're going to be curious, especially about conflict in the Middle East throughout history when that's all we ever talk about on social media, in our classrooms, and in the mainstream media. Of course our curiosity is going to be there. If you foster it with more speech, if you allow more opportunities to ask questions, if you allow more exposure of bad ideas, but also replacing them with good ideas, that's where things start to click. And all we have to do, believe it or not, is let this stuff play out for the vast majority of my generation to look around and say, yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no way in hell I'm ever going to support somebody like Osama bin Laden. And if you need another example of just letting the insanity play out, CNN decided to do a video interview with a Jewish rabbi, I'm putting very big quotation marks around that, to try to prove that the fundamental threat in the Middle East is Israel and not an internationally recognized terrorist organization, Hamas. And this is how they decided to do it. This rabbi, allegedly, Jessica Rosenberg. I'm not one to assume or anything, but Jessica, interesting. Jessica Rosenberg confronted President Biden about a ceasefire in Gaza during a campaign fundraiser in Minneapolis. She joins CNN this morning to explain why she continues to demand this and to send a message to the Jewish community. Should we hear what Rabbi Jessica had to say? I think we shall. It's going to have to load. Oh, of course, there's an ad. Gosh,
Rabbi
CNN,
Jessica
you're the worst.
Rosenberg made headlines when she confronted the president earlier this month at a campaign fundraiser in Minnesota. Here she is.
Mr. President, if you care about Jewish people, as a rabbi, I need you to call for a ceasefire right now.
If you care about Jewish people, I'm a rabbi. I need you to call for a ceasefire right now. Any Jews in the chat? Can women actually be rabbis in like actual practicing Judaism? I don't know the answer to that.
What would you say to the president now?
I'm sorry. Self-control.
Thank you so much for having me. I called for a ceasefire and I continue to call for a ceasefire because we cannot bomb our way to peace. We need a political solution, not a military solution. Palestinians are fighting for equal rights in the land, and as someone who learned from Jewish tradition that all life is sacred, that is what I'm fighting for as well, and that's what I'm calling for a ceasefire.
What's going on in Minneapolis? It was also Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, that a Lutheran church was reciting the Sparkle Creed that I made a video about probably three months ago now. It has like 20 million views on Instagram. The Sparkle Creed, given that we worship the non-binary God and his their trans child, Jesus Christ, who wore a fabulous tunic. Wasn't that also Minnesota? You guys might remember better than me, but what the hell is going on in Minneapolis?
As you know, Rabbi, there are many in the Jewish community dealing with the trauma of the massacre and, of course, the hostages who have yet to return home. But they're also dealing with anti-Semitic attacks. Perhaps, you have dealt with that as well. We are seeing that just disturbingly across the world. While you're calling for peace, what do you say to people in the Jewish community who are still dealing with all this pain?
Well, first of all, we get to grieve. We take all the space and time we need to feel the extreme grief and rage of the violence on October 7th.
I'm sorry. I cannot keep a straight face through any of this. Like, what are we doing, America?
And to acknowledge all of what comes up when this happens, which is centuries of anti-Semitism, and killing Palestinians does not honor or bring back any of the lives of Israelis who were lost on the 7th. And I want to say, I know there's many non-Jews who believe that supporting Israel in this war is how to stand in solidarity with Jews, or even make
So here we go. If you want to stand in solidarity with the Jewish people, it's not by supporting the only country that safely really allows you to be Jewish. No.
For the atrocities of the Holocaust. And I want to say that ending anti-Semitism in all the places that Jews live, everywhere, that is how you stand in solidarity with Jews.
But Hamas has and continues to be an existential threat to Israel. If your calls for
rare CNNW
ceasefire are answered, would you be concerned that that could potentially put more Jewish lives at risk?
I'm concerned for Jewish lives and Palestinian lives and all lives, and looking towards what is the future we're visioning. It needs to begin with an end to occupation and equal rights for all people in this land. And until we have that,
there is equal rights. There is equal rights in the nation of Israel. There is freedom of religion and an integrated society that already exists. I'm so confused.
Hamas is eradicated, a different group will emerge. Like that is when people are living without basic rights. That is the fundamental threat to safety in the region.
Interesting. So Israel is the, quote, fundamental threat to safety in the region. And look, regardless of whatever you think about the Israel-Gaza situation, we've covered it at length here on the stream, and I've provided all of my own commentary at length on all of that. So please feel free to go back and rewatch any of those episodes. That's not the point of what we're talking about right now. The point is, if you want people, especially younger people, to seek truth, Let the insane people talk and make the videos and post the ridiculous hot takes on TikTok and then subsequently be made fun of for that. No remotely sane person ever in American or world history is going to look at a video and watch a video of a female rabbi with a beard tell them that the Jewish people should not support the nation state of Israel and take that seriously. Nobody is going to take that seriously ever in a million years. Similarly, nobody is going to take videos of a ton of bald, gender non-conforming 20-something morons who are still in grad school because they can't find a job with piercings all over their face, telling them that Osama Bin Laden was a good guy. Nobody's going to take any of those things seriously. But the moment you start demonizing the larger implications of that conversation, like the platforms that we use to seek out news and information, including stupid news and information, or by hyperbolically calling an entire generation idiotic, moronic, stupid, or the stupidest generation in human history, which, please, for all that is good, if you're going to criticize the next generation for being dumb, at least use proper grammar in doing so. Republican talking heads on Twitter, that's when you have subsequently conceded the battle. You've already lost. Good luck changing anybody's mind on any topic in the future. Is it absolutely disgusting that there are dozens of teenagers and 20-somethings and college students supporting the most notorious violent terrorist in world history? Yes, that's disgusting. But the answer to silencing that and the answer to countering that is not by unilaterally banning the largest social media platform on the face of planet Earth and the number one used search engine for my generation. The answer for countering that is not telling an entire generation of young people that they are the dumbest group of people to ever exist in human history. Certainly, if you ever plan to win an election or try to change culture for the better in the future ever again. That's not the answer. The answer, as always, is more speech, defeating bad ideas with good ideas, and platforming those who might be able to appropriately counter the insanity. I am just continuing to grow in my frustration as we get closer and closer and closer to the next election. And frankly, I feel more and more disenfranchised from so many people that I share fundamental secular values with, like political values with and cultural values with, because I don't know how much more the right in America can keep spewing absolute nonsense like the only solution is censorship. The only solution is deleting all of these social media platforms from existence. The only solution is vilifying an entire generation that's already trending to agree with me as stupid. How many more times can the right do that? Can conservatives do that? Can remotely sane people do that and still expect to make a positive difference in society? Good luck. I mean, that's like calling up a girl that you're interested in or a guy that you're interested in and saying, yeah, you're fat, ugly, and stupid, but do you want to go to dinner with me on Friday? How's that going to work out for you? It's not. And yet we just keep doing this over and over and over and over again. And then we ask, are you tired of winning? We're not winning. We're not winning. And even the efforts to try to point out the insanity shoot ourselves in the foot even more. You want people to unequivocally condemn Osama Bin Laden? Maybe don't suggest that every single person in our generation is an idiot worshiper of him who uses dumb Chinese-owned social media platforms that push this nonsense when that's not even true. And just say, wow, that was stupid. Anybody want to try to counter that? Wow, look how stupid this video is. Let's react to it and talk about it. The overgeneralizations and the alienation of Gen Z is escalating with every passing day. It's exactly what I warned about going into the 2022 election and why there wasn't going to be this massive red wave. And it's exactly what I'm warning about now going into 2024, while Gen Z is gearing up to be the largest voter bloc in American history. We don't need establishment Washington, D.C. puppets countering this type of stuff. Believe it or not, I saw plenty of videos on TikTok of other Gen Zers saying, you people are so stupid. Here's what that letter actually said. We got it by ourselves. The moment we try to isolate, to alienate, and to otherize the next generation of people who are already supporting traditional values, who are already seeking objective truth, and who are already trending quite conservative in our culture and politics, the more we otherize those people, the less and less and less we will be winning. And we're not already. So can't say I didn't warn you. Good luck with that is all I have to say, I guess. And I don't know what else I can say going into 2024, because I've said the exact same thing about 20 different scenarios over and over and over again, and I guess it's just not clicking. So maybe our generation will just have to start our own political party at this point, because it's getting wildly ridiculous how much this pattern continues to repeat itself. Alex says, people often mistake misinformation and misinformed with stupidity. They love to hate younger generations. Just because you've been taught something wrong doesn't mean you're dumb. Just because you are misinformed does not make you uninformed. It just creates an opportunity to change someone's mind in the future. And I couldn't say it better myself. Alex, that is incredibly well said. He then said, maybe Gen Z should start the based party. Maybe we should at this point. It's unbelievably ridiculous, you guys. I don't know, though. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my frustration is operating in a vacuum, and nobody else is seeing the ridiculous double standard associated with all of this. Let me know, chat. Pop in the chat and let me know what you guys think, because I don't know what else I could possibly say to try to get these people listening. Nitty Witty, the only people who are winning here are the power elites and the wealthy plurocrats. Yeah, it's all part of their plan. Keep people distracted with all of this while they all consolidate power. I couldn't agree more. We're really operating with a uniparty in Washington, D.C. that's trying to make you stupid and keep you stupid while they all continue to consolidate power. Should absolutely be terrifying you, in case it isn't already. The Chad 101 on Rumble says, divided we fall. It was Abraham Lincoln that said, a house divided cannot stand. And with every passing day, with every passing election in this country, I see more and more of a divide, not just between the left and the right, not just between Republicans and Democrats or liberals and conservatives. I'm seeing this divide continue to grow between generations. And that's a really shocking reality, because it looks a whole lot more like it did in 1776, for example, where a young, patriotic, truth-seeking generation had to rise up and rebel against the older, wealthy elites in power, namely a royal family, continuing to exercise their unbelievable consolidation of power over people seeking liberty and freedom. It is very much mirroring that with every passing day, and it's a crazy reality. And yes, Odysseus, Lincoln was quoting the Bible when he, in fact, said that. It's very, very, very true. Daniel Maynard, this isn't new. Baby boomers consider Gen X to be slackers. Gen X thinks millennials are soft and lazy, and all of those think that Gen Z is stupid. Yes, generational hatred is not a new concept. I actually wrote about this quite at length in my new book that's coming out in March, The End of the Alphabet, about the identity of Gen Z and how we might be the last saving grace for the West, Western civilization, and America. It's not a new concept, but I am seeing it escalate to a shockingly scary level with our generation at the end of the alphabet, which I think is no coincidence at all that we are the end of the alphabet, because it also kind of feels like the end of life as we know it with every passing day. Remix Soldier just jumped in. YouTube, finally found you. For some reason, my Rumble wasn't working. What did I miss? I'm so glad there are a bunch of you watching on Rumble, but it might not be working for everybody quite yet. In case you didn't hear the news, Rumble suffered a really extreme cyber attack today, a DDoS attack. So we were a little bit late getting the Rumble stream up. It might not be working yet for some people to actually log in. I hate that, and I apologize for all of that, but hopefully you guys will have a chance to go back and re-watch it. All right, you guys. Crazy stuff. Don't believe everything you read on the internet is the key takeaway for all of this. If you read a tweet that says all Gen Zers are buying into praising Osama Bin Laden and that TikTok as an entire platform is pushing this stuff, it probably sounds outrageous because it is. It probably sounds too insane to be true because it is. So always go farther than just reading the headline, I guess, is the key takeaway that I want to share with you guys today. And despite the minority voices of the really freaking insane people on the internet, the vast majority of people that I'm seeing, at least in my generation, would vehemently disagree with every single thing that we saw in those videos that we reacted to today. Do your own research, have faith in others, and stop using convenient talking points and convenient viral videos from idiots as a reason to give up and to stop fighting and to stop trying to change people's minds, because it is always worth it to have these conversations. It is always worth it to sit down with those that you disagree with and try to change their mind for the better. And it's always worth it to encourage those in positions of power to actively recruit the next generation in the pursuit of truth instead of continuing to alienate them. We are going to jump over to locals for our post-stream Q&A. And just as a reminder, tomorrow we are doing a Thanksgiving-themed stream. I'm going to be ranking my favorite Thanksgiving foods. We did that last year in a fun little tier list. So would love to have you guys join us for that tomorrow, and covering some other really fun Thanksgiving-related things. We want all of you guys there to share what you are thankful for tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. YouTube, Rumble, Getter, and Facebook. Do me a huge favor as we jump over to Rumble, or while we jump over to locals, excuse me, and like this episode before we go. That could look like a little thumbs up or a little heart. Ring that notification bell so that you always know when we are going live or uploading a new video. And most importantly, smash that follow or subscribe button to help us continue to grow our communities. We are so freaking close to 25,000 subs on YouTube, and I am like very, very proud of that as it continues to grow. We had about 5,000 subscribers, a little bit less, on YouTube when we started this year. I knew nothing about YouTube. I had never invested anything into YouTube. And then when we started doing some really fun expansion of the stream outside of just Getter onto a ton of different platforms, our YouTube growth has really, really grown, and I'm so excited because it is all organic. There is no like official money being plugged into this channel to try to grow. It's every time you guys hit the subscribe button is when we are continuing to grow. So although it's taking a lot longer than our other social media platforms, I appreciate it every single time you guys hit subscribe. It means the absolute world to me, and I'm hoping we can hit our goal of 30,000 subs by the end of our first year, really, really, on YouTube. It's all thanks to you guys, and thanks for helping us get there. All right, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Getter. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Locals, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.